Hi, this is SOSF. Alright, pull up a chair. You ever go down one of those internet rabbit holes? I mean a real one. Not just watching cat videos for 3 hours. I'm talking about the kind of rabbit hole that makes you question what the hell is even going on in the world. The kind that feels like you've peeled back a layer of reality and there's this whole other weird, hidden machine operating underneath. We're going to talk about one of those today. This is the story of Cicada3301. So, picture this. It's January 2012. The internet is, well, it's the internet. It's a wild place, but we kind of think we know the landscape. Then, on 4chan, which, if you don't know, is basically the internet's chaotic, anonymous, and sometimes terrifying basement, this weird image appears. It's just simple white text on a black background. It says, "Hello, we are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. There is a message hidden in this image. Find it, and it will lead you on the road to finding us. We look forward to meeting the few that will make it all the way through. Good luck." And it's signed, 3301. Now, you gotta understand 4chan. Posting this there is a strategic move. It's like putting a classified ad for a theoretical physicist in the middle of a mosh pit at a death metal concert. Most people are gonna ignore it or just draw a mustache on it. But the right people, the people who thrive in that kind of digital chaos, they're gonna notice. It's a filter right from the get-go. These guys, whoever they were, weren't looking for your average Joe. They were headhunting for a very specific type of person. Someone who's not just smart, but who can see a signal through a whole load of noise. So, people start digging into this image, and right away, it's not what it seems. Some clever person opens the image file in a text editor, like looking at the raw code of the picture. And buried in all that gobbledygook is a line of text. It says Tiberef's Claudius Caesar. Any history nerds out there? That's a Roman emperor. And what's he famous for, besides being in that awesome old TV show? Ciphers. The Caesar cipher, one of the oldest and simplest ways to encrypt a message. It's like a secret decoder ring you had as a kid. You shift the alphabet a few letters over. A becomes D, B becomes E, and so on. So they apply this cipher to another bit of text hidden in the image, and boom, it spits out a URL, a web address. First step, right? People are freaking out. They're thinking, holy crap, this is real. They go to the website, and what do they find? A picture of a duck. A frickin' duck. And the text says, whoops, just decoys this way. Looks like you can't guess how to get the message out. This is where it gets brilliant. It's a total misdirection, but it's also a clue. A decoy. But look at the phrasing. Guess how to get the message out. It was a hint. There's this whole field of hiding information called steganography. It's not about scrambling the message. It's about hiding the message itself. Like writing a secret note in invisible ink. The letter looks normal, but there's a hidden layer. In the digital world, you can hide text, or even whole files, inside an image file. There's a specific program for this, and one of them is called, wait for it, outguess. So the real puzzle wasn't the duck. The real puzzle was realizing you had to use this outguess program on the original image, the one from 4chan, and when they did that, a whole new message came out. This is level 2. Man, we're already past what 99.9% of the population could or would ever do. This new clue leads them to Reddit, another corner of the internet. And there they find a bunch of weird numbers and some references to Mayan numerals. It's a book code, another old school spy technique. It's a set of coordinates that points to a specific word or phrase in a specific book. This whole thing is a test of your knowledge base. You gotta know ancient Roman history, modern data security, and now obscure book ciphers. The book code eventually leads them to a phone number. A real-world phone number based in Texas. Can you imagine the buzz? A bunch of nerds in their basements all around the world are now dialing this number. They call it, and it's a pre-recorded message. A creepy, synthesized voice says something like, there are 3 prime numbers associated with the original image. 3301 is one of them. Find the other 2. Multiply them together and add a .com to find the next step. Mind you, 3301 is a prime number. A number that can only be divided by itself and 1. Prime numbers are the absolute bedrock of modern digital security. All your bank transactions, your secure emails, everything is protected by math built on these weird, lonely numbers. So the name Cicada3301 is already a massive clue about who these people are. Cicadas, the insects, they lie dormant for years and then emerge in huge numbers, right? Like a prime number, appearing on its own schedule. It's all layers of meaning. So, what are the other 2 primes? People go back to the original image file. They check its properties. The dimensions. It was 509 pixels wide by 503 pixels high. And guess what? Both 509 and 503 are prime numbers. It's insane. So they multiply 3301 times 509 times 503. They get this gigantic number, 8451452127. They slap a .com on the end, and it's a website. And this is where it breaks out of the internet. This is where it gets physical. The website has a countdown timer. When it hits 0, it reveals a list of GPS coordinates. 14 locations in 5 different countries. We're talking Warsaw, Paris, Seoul, Sydney, Miami, Hawaii, all over the globe. The puzzle has now officially entered the real world. This isn't just a game for people sitting at a keyboard anymore. They need people on the ground. And what happens is amazing. This ad hoc community of puzzle solvers, they start collaborating. A guy in Germany who cracked one part of the code is now telling a girl in Australia where to go. She gets on a bus and goes to the coordinates and finds a poster taped to a lamppost. On the poster is the Cicada image and a QR code. They scan the QR codes, and they all lead to more clues. This time excerpts from a poem by William Gibson. He's the guy who basically invented the whole cyberpunk genre. The poem is called Agrippa, a Book of the Dead, and here's the kicker. The original poem was released on a floppy disk that was programmed to encrypt itself after you read it once. It was a self-destructing piece of art. The theme here is crystal clear. This information is secret, it's fleeting, and it's for a chosen few. All these breadcrumbs, from the digital to the physical and back again, finally lead to the last step, an address on the Tor network. The dark web, this is the part of the internet that's anonymous. It's not indexed by Google. To get there, you need a special browser. It's where whistleblowers and journalists communicate securely, but it's also got a nasty reputation. These Cicada guys are showing that they operate in the shadows, that they value privacy and anonymity above all else. But here's the cutoff. Only the first people who got to that Tor address were let in. Then, the site shut down. A final message appeared back on 4chan. We have now found the individuals we sought. Thus our month-long journey ends. It was over. So what happened to the people who made it? The winners? A few of them have come forward, like this young guy named Marcus Warner. He said they were invited to a private online forum. And on that forum, they weren't given a prize or a job offer. They were asked questions. Philosophical questions. What were their views on freedom of information? On censorship? On privacy? This wasn't a game. It was a recruitment drive. An ideological purity test. They were looking for allies. And then, silence. For a whole year. Everyone thought, well, that was a weird, wild ride. But then, on January 5, 2013, it happened again. A new image appears. Same MO. A message hidden inside. But this time, everything is harder. The puzzles are more complex. The knowledge required is more esoteric. The first puzzle sends them to a book by Aleister Crowley, the famous occultist. We're moving from cyberpunk to straight-up mysticism here. The decoded message leads to a file, and this file isn't just a text file. It's a 130 megabyte bootable operating system. You have to reboot your entire computer into this custom Linux system they built. Who the hell does this? Inside that operating system is a piece of music they composed, called the Instar Emergence. An instar is a stage in an insect's development. An emergence. It's all about this theme of coming out, of transforming. And again, clues are hidden inside the music file itself. This puzzle involves a Twitter account posting a massive stream of random-looking numbers. It requires you to do complex operations, mixing this hexadecimal data with the audio file. It's stuff that would make your high school math teacher's head spin. This time, they don't just use an existing cipher, they create their own. A whole alphabet of runes, which the community later called the Gematria Primus. This isn't just a puzzle anymore, it's world building. They're creating their own mythology, their own secret language. And again, it ends with a worldwide scavenger hunt, with physical posters hidden in places from the US to Japan to Russia. The few who solved the 2013 puzzle, they got to another private site on the dark web. This time, according to Warner, they were given a personality test. And the ones who passed were invited to a private forum and given a task. They were told to work together to create software that would further the group's ideals: privacy, security, freedom. But it kind of fizzled out. These guys were brilliant puzzle solvers, lone wolves. But maybe they weren't the best team players for a long-term software development project. It seems like the collaboration fell apart, and the private forum eventually went dark. So everyone's waiting for 2014. What are they going to do next? And sure enough, January 6th, a new puzzle drops. And this one is the monster. It starts similarly: an image, a hidden message, a book code pointing to Ralph Waldo Emerson's essay Self-Reliance. The theme of individualism is strong with these guys. But then it escalates to a whole new level. The puzzle leads to a challenge that requires some serious, hardcore computer science. It's a message encrypted with a 432-bit RSA key. Now, what that means for a normal person is that it's locked with a password that's basically a 130-digit number. And the only way to break it is to figure out the two giant prime numbers that were multiplied together to create it. You can't guess this. You can't logic it out. You have to brute force it with massive amounts of computer power. No single person could do this. So the entire global community of solvers had to team up. They created a distributed network, people volunteering their home computers' processing power when they were sleeping. It was this massive, collaborative effort to crack one single lock. And they did it. It was a huge achievement. And what was behind the lock? What was the ultimate prize? It was a book. A 76-page digital book called the Liber Primus, which is Latin for first book. It's written almost entirely in their runic alphabet, the Gematria Primus. This is it. This is the manifesto, the sacred text of Cicada3301. And here's the punchline, man. Here's the part that makes this whole thing a legend. We still can't read it. They've only managed to translate about 19 pages. And the stuff they've translated is weird. It's cryptic, philosophical poetry about reality, divinity, and the nature of the self. Lines like program your mind, program reality. It's like a Gnostic gospel for the digital age. Gnosticism was this old, mystical belief that the physical world is a prison and the only way to escape is through secret knowledge, or gnosis. For these guys, the censored, monitored internet is the prison. And cryptography, this secret knowledge, is the key to liberation. The rest of the book, the majority of it, is still locked behind even more layers of encryption that nobody has been able to break. And that was it. The 2014 puzzle was never solved, because the book is the final challenge, and it's a challenge that has lasted for over a decade. After that, Cicada3301 went silent. They posted one or two more authenticated messages, basically warning people about copycats and imposters, and then, nothing. They vanished. So the big question, the billion-dollar question, is who the hell were these guys? The theories are all over the map. One popular theory is that it was a government agency, the NSA, the CIA, MI6 in the UK. I mean, it makes sense, right? They're looking for the world's best cryptographers and security experts. What better way to find them than to create the ultimate uncrackable puzzle? The US Navy actually launched its own recruitment puzzle in 2014 that was openly based on Cicada. So it's not a crazy idea. Another theory is that it's a secret society, a think tank of some kind. A bunch of cypherpunks or crypto-anarchists who genuinely believe that the world needs a new way to protect privacy and information freedom. In one leaked email, they supposedly describe themselves as a group focused on researching and developing techniques to aid the ideas we advocate: liberty, privacy, security. They see themselves as philosopher kings of the internet, and they were looking for their disciples. Then you have the more cynical take. It was just an ARG, an alternate reality game. Some elaborate prank by a bunch of brilliant programmers and artists with too much time on their hands. But that theory has a problem. ARGs are almost always marketing. They're promoting a movie or a video game. Someone eventually steps up to take credit and make money. Nobody ever has for Cicada3301. There's no product. There's no commercial motive. It feels authentic. Too authentic. And maybe that's the most fascinating part of it. The why. These puzzles weren't just technical. They were philosophical. They were spiritual, almost. You had to understand not just code, but literature, art, music, and mysticism. They were filtering for a certain kind of mind, a Renaissance person for the digital age. Someone who could see the connections between a Roman emperor, a cyberpunk author, an occultist, and a prime number. The legacy of this thing is wild. It's become this legendary myth of the internet. Anytime a weird, cryptic puzzle shows up online, people whisper, "Is it Cicada?" It inspired TV shows, movies. But more than that, it introduced a huge number of people to the ideas of cryptography, of steganography, of the dark web. It democratized this secret knowledge in a way, which is ironic, because the creators seem to want to keep it for an elite few. There was this built-in conflict in their whole philosophy. They said they were looking for leaders, not followers. They seemed to get annoyed that thousands of people were working together, sharing answers in forums and chat rooms. But at the same time, they designed the puzzles so they couldn't be solved by one person. You needed global collaboration for the GPS coordinates. You needed a massive distributed network to crack the RSA key. So what was the real test? Was it just about solving the puzzles? Or was it also a social experiment? Were they trying to see how people would organize, how they would lead and follow, in this strange, anonymous environment? Were they testing our ethics as much as our intellect? And now, all that's left is the community, a dedicated group of people on Reddit and Discord who are still, to this day, chipping away at the Liber Primus. It's become their life's work, their Mount Everest. They're digital archaeologists, trying to unearth the secrets of this lost, digital civilization. It's this testament to the human desire to solve the unsolvable, to know the unknowable. In the end, maybe that was the point. By leaving behind an impossible book, an unfinished symphony, Cicada3301 guaranteed its own immortality. It's not a mystery that got solved and filed away. It's a living mystery. It's a question that's still hanging in the digital air. It makes you wonder what other secrets are buried out there, hidden just one layer beneath the surface of the reality we think we know. What if the world is just one big escape room, and most of us don't even realize we're supposed to be looking for the clues? It kinda makes you think, doesn't it? What puzzle are we all a part of right now, and we just can't see it yet? See you next time.